Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. We're taking a quick look, of course, at Bitcoin leading into the Fed meeting. So quick heads up, we do have a Fed here. There is, it's already priced in here for a basis point decrease, which you would view as a positive sign. But a lot of times we do see a sell the news kind of situation. So we want to be mindful of that and maybe look at some past history here today. But furthermore, obviously kind of looking at specific outliers here, 93,000, 94,200. Those are some pretty big order blocks there and just some important things to kind of recognize too, with volume starting to increase as we surpass that $90,000 range or we're holding above that level. Those are generally very positive signs. We wanted to kind of pay attention to that. So we'll take a look at this all and much more. Be sure to stick around. We got a good one today. Let's take a look. All right, folks, before we jump into the back end juicy liquidation data, quick reminder here. Hit the like button, comment below. To all of our new subscribers, we get maybe 20 to 40 new subscribers a day. Enable alerts. Make sure you're staying abreast on these videos. They are very helpful for a lot of folks. Obviously, you want to make sure to watch all the way through and not try to fast forward to the end because there's really no, direction or summarization I can make to say like, hey, we're definitively going one way or the other. There's a lot of case by case scenarios, and today specifically the same thing as well with the Fed. So just kind of clarify here, it really depends on how hawkish or dovish he's going to be based on anytime there's a priced in type of scenario where we kind of expect the basis points are going to be going in a certain direction, which in this case is likely to go down by 25. We can usually presume that based on whatever he says is going to dictate the direction of the trend, right? So if he's like, hey, we're gonna be doing good here, XYZ later down the road, then we might see the price go up and inverse as well. While it's cryptic and never quite always what you expect, it is definitely relevant. So pay attention to that. That is at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and of course 2 p.m. is when we see the results provided here. So by the time you watch this video, that may have already happened, and that can skew the results of the analysis in a lot of ways, just based on the simple fact that trends don't always have to hold, even though we're in a pretty positive trend. We're going to talk about that here. Let's quickly specify volume increase as we surpass that $90,000 tentative resistance range. We've been maintaining above that for a short while. That's very positive here, showing us that we have good strength. We also have increased volume. While this isn't exactly where we want to be, it's significantly higher than it was last 5 trading days. And that's important. It's important to see that. So for the most part, that can be viewed as a positive sign to start seeing that increase, because we saw a very similar situation here where volume increased actually on the way down, which sounds counterintuitive, but that was a significant bearish type of divergence. It took a while for that foundation of volume to increase. All right. Anyways, I view it as a positive here, and it's generally a nice sign in the market. What else is nice here too is ETH dominance increasing outside of everything else. So stable dominance, altcoin market dominance, and Bitcoin dominance all going down, and ETH dominance is going up. It's usually the front runner for quote unquote alt season. And folks asked me to cover alt season, why I don't think that's going to happen. The quick bumper sticker, without getting too into detail, which I can make a separate video on that, is just that altcoins are very how do I describe this correctly? Well, the way that market manipulation is happening now more so than ever before with ETF approval. And we can kind of see that reflected here with ETF net inflows or outflows. Generally speaking, ever since ETFs have been approved, January 1st of 2024, we've seen a significant amount of like the market movement is a lot different. Like I've had to learn how to trade different in the last 2 years than I had previous timeframes. And most of us probably could attest that. Most people are getting destroyed. And oftentimes I have to work within tighter margins than looser margins. So all that ties into alt season because most altcoins are getting truly hammered when they shouldn't, and it's hard to see any kind of coin running, for the hills, so to speak, at least in a good way, right? We got Zcash, Aster, some, those are more like fundamentally fueled ones by promotion from larger entities there. But if we look though, majority of the market is just terrible. Now, obviously, this is what's the snapshot is going on right now, but for the most part, altcoin season index, I think we're going to see diminishing returns, just like the 4-year cycle, pretty much becoming invalidated at this point, because that was all based on mining, and that has changed, of course, at least with halvings, and then more so when it comes to alt season. I think we're going to see some front runners, some coins do well. right? That's going to be natural. But to see everything and almost all coins just going straight up for no reason at all, that I think that's a thing of the past, just based on profits being taken, more big money involved, and the whales effectively just taking control of the market, right? It's no longer it's no longer, well, it's still the Wild West, but it's no longer a situation where things can just kind of run free. It's kind of it's a diluted market is the best way to describe it. All right, too many greedy fish in the a smaller, or what seems like to becoming a more smaller pond. Anyways, my analogies are terrible. You've been watching me for any length of time. The idea is there, but it doesn't always sync up. So apologize if that's a terrible analogy, but that is my thought process there. Sorry, sidebar. Back to Bitcoin, and let's kind of actually get a refresh because this is the Ethereum. Let's go ahead and pull up our Bitcoin charts and kind of recognize a few things. And once more, we're starting to see the price slowly increase as fear and greed index starts to decrease. Or in other words, fear is decreasing. That greed index essentially is going up. And that's just kind of a scenario where, not to say you want to sell per se, we have a local resistance here at about 94,000 roughly we want to be mindful of. But the general consensus is that we're shifting that dynamic, but we're also working ourselves into a bearish flag. So it's concerning in a lot of ways as we are trying to break free from this descending trend. What I'm getting at here is that when it comes to liquidation, there's still a ton of liquidation left above the price. Only half of that liquidation got hit above the price here. So we can see that 96K to 94.5 range is essentially still a pretty big chunk left there. Same thing here as well. When we look at the 7 days, there's some late long starting to pile up, price pulling back a little bit, but there's nothing to really note in the last 7 days. Most all the liquidation has been hit once we hit that 94.5K resistance range. Same thing here too. When we look at this is the 3-day time frame on the left, we can recognize that 88.5 is that heaviest concentration there, where we got these late longs essentially with liquidation events and or stop losses at that level. So summarization of that is just that this is, we're in a position right now where we're kind of ranging, so to speak, and it can be difficult to try to identify what direction we're going to head because there's less incentive, if you will, with liquidation being fully swept, at least in a local time frame, the last 7 days, which is good. The whales did their job, but on the same accord, it's kind of misleading because you think they're going to keep pumping the price because we had super high volume yesterday and then the price tapers off. Probably just selling into the Fed is pretty much what it's boiling down to. Anyways, 91.8, 91.5, close approximate of key level support. We can actually see the price action holding at that level for the moment. That does run consistent with our ascending trend, which we'll look at here in a moment as well, just to kind of give you perspective that we're in a good situation here, right? Liquidation delta is still green. You generally don't want to try to short against that. Obviously, there's some profits to be taken between 94.5 and the current price point, but getting super greedy, trying to hold down to that, the 80K range, it may not be as practical as I'd like to think. But once more, the Fed is the caveat here, right? If it wasn't for the Fed, I think along the 90 to 91.5K range makes perfect sense. I'm just a little apprehensive to want to do that because it just feels kind of like a trap. And generally speaking, that's how the market is now that big money's involved, right? So it's just kind of the narrative here, essentially. You always got to watch your back, right? So it's like you're walking down a dark alley, full of gang members, and you're just hoping to get home to your old lady. It's one of those situations, kind of that's how trading is now, so it sucks, but it's just kind of the way it goes. That may change eventually, but for right now, we got to do our due diligence and double check the daily time frame. And just quickly note here a couple of things here. So if we kind of look over at a different same time frame, just slightly different chart with a different perspective. We have our bearish type of flag pattern. Once more, we're maintaining above that halfway point and that point of control, so it's a very positive sign. Generally speaking, that does suggest further upside. And invalidating that bearish type of flag pattern. But it won't be fully invalidated until we basically break the local range here, which is that high of roughly 94,000. So I'm looking for a closure above 94K to give us like that, yeah, we're good to go. Between now and then, though, we're still kind of testing this descending trend and we're still below the 50. So once more, we're definitely not breaking bullish, but we're moving towards that. If we can see here, we're right at 50 in the RSI with money flow index remaining above the price, or above the RSI rather. And those are just things I kind of like to look for. So there's more confirming factors on the daily time frame telling us that a continuation higher is likely. But once more, market makers are like, everyone can see this and we see it too. So what are we going to do? We're going to trash the market. Anyways, that could happen, but the easy way to understand it it here is if we take a look at this ascending channel, here's kind of where we're at. We're establishing higher lows and higher highs. This generally shows strength and a continuation progression higher, as well as retesting this range here, right? We saw a rejection at 93.5 and then 93.7 here. So in the 4-hour time frame, the price has never closed above 93.9, or just say round number 94K. So we're continuously retesting the same resistance level, and we're also establishing higher lows. That basically tells us the whales, or sorry, the bears rather, are having difficulty selling and controlling the price action, where the bulls are in control. They're pushing the price action higher. So that's a positive sign nonetheless. So those are all good things here for the most part. I think the likelihood of further upside makes more sense than this potential situation here where the price could continue to progress lower. If we do lose 91.5, we may be continuing lower, but a lot of it hinges on what happens today. So I just say be careful and cautious leading into it. If it's already happened, you're looking at the price action right now, and the price is slowly, steadily moving higher, I would say that's probably a good sign, and we're more likely to push towards this upper liquidation range of 95K. All right, it's this guy right here, big old chunk. Okay, so only half that got taken. That's why I waited on taking a short yesterday, just to be safe. I mentioned that to my community, that it's best not to try to FOMO in just yet. Even though, yes, you could have found some profit on that short position, it was still high risk considering how much volume we had flowing into that event, right? And that liquidation wasn't fully swept. So I do think that 95K seems much more probable than the inverse, but really depends on Fed and how Jerome Powell gives the market a good old talking to, right? So I hope that works out well for everyone. Quick heads up to our traders. We got a 15% discount on trading fees if you use my link to register through Bitunix. Links down below in the description. All right, folks, let's jump on into Solana chart. And just to quickly clarify, I want to mention this because people keep asking me a lot. I figure I'd cover it really quick. Yes, there is still a few slots left available in our Christmas sale here, the 25 days of Christmas. We are looking at about 15 slots remaining. One more got pulled out last night, so I just got to update that. But we got 15 out of 25 left here. So be sure to take advantage of that. I've never offered, I rarely offer lifetime memberships. That's all available for you there. Let's take a look at the back end here. Just kind of quickly compare Solana and just recognize that there's a lot of similarities between Solana and Bitcoin. So I'm not super convinced that Solana is worthwhile taking a trade just yet. Yes, we had that nice, awesome pump from 132 to 145. That seems very suspect, but it was consistent with Bitcoin too, right? So needless to say, price action is not very much different. So a lot of times when that alignment occurs, you can presume that Solana is going to move synonymous with Bitcoin until it doesn't, right? And obviously at that point, when it happens, there's no like indicator. Solana doesn't like wave a flag and be like, hey, I'm separate from Bitcoin. I'm going to be moving up on my own. You got to be do your due diligence and look at it, right? And that's what we got to try to do here and see if there's any early signs of reversal. Oftentimes you can identify that with liquidation on the back end. Most of the time it's not present on the charts. At least it's less present. Anyways, open interest doesn't tell us too much, just lower range of 132, which is my desirable consideration for a long. I think it was, what was the area of consideration? I sent it out yesterday. We're looking for Solana long 132 to 135. Yeah, so that's like the lower range. So we're getting close to the area that I wanted to consider a trade. Having said all that, we're at 136 now, not really looking too great versus Bitcoin. I would recommend waiting for the Fed to happen first, see what occurs there. But 132 seems like a practical place, and we'll talk more about why that is the case. We have liquidation at 131, so we might actually see an aggressive wick down to sweep that level. But there's not a lot of liquidation left in the immediate local time frame. I mean, we could kind of zoom out a little bit and kind of mention that there's a little chunk at 135, but that's no surprise. It's just kind of what happens when late longs pile up. So nothing really super telling on the back end there. When we look at this current range from a macro perspective, we can recognize that Solana is trying to break bullish, but it's not there yet. In fact, Bitcoin is kind of on the verge of doing so. It looks fairly strong, and Solana is still lagging behind. It's kind of an unusual thing because Solana typically runs pretty well with Bitcoin or Ethereum, and it's kind of just stuck on stupid, at least the best way to describe it for me. But most altcoins are too. If you look at most other altcoins, they look pretty poor today, or just in general, the range for the last 2 weeks has been pretty abysmal. But that's exactly what it is. It's a range, right? You got to trade. If you understand we're in a range, you trade the range. It's simple as that. And hindsight's 2020, but shorting at 144, as mentioned previously, would have been a good idea. I was sleeping when that happened, of course, but that was my desirable area of consideration for Solana. Yeah, 145 to 150 was a short range I was looking for. Having said all that, though, we take a look here at the daily time frame. There's nothing to note except for the descending trend line, which we're far away from. That has to be broken first before we can consider being like, along with the utmost confidence that we're going to actually get some good profit off of it. Between now and then, we're in this range. There's no other way around it. Low end is 125, upper range is 145. We're in a $20 spread. So if we look at the 4-hour time frame, this does tell us that we're kind of testing our local support at 50 on the RSI. I wouldn't read into that too much though, because the price action looks pretty poor. We do have a fair value gap as low as 133. That's half the reason why I was interested in a 132 entry, is because we have a lot of value down there and there's a likelihood of the price action pulling back to that range. Just constant. I mean, you see these previous fair value gaps, they're like consistent. They're all over the place. And they're constantly getting filled just because we see this ripsaw. And this is what happens when big money's involved, folks. I can assure you this is not people like you and I trying to destroy the next person. It's absolutely market makers being like, oh, we're going to buy this dip. Everyone just shorted. Oh, everyone just took a long. We got to breakout traders. Let's go ahead and destroy them. Obviously, it's mostly based on profit. That's their merit. But destruction comes with that. As long as you continue to use high leverage, it's going to be the case. So if anybody could stop doing that, or everyone could stop doing that at once, market makers would be like, what the hell? I don't know what to do anymore. There's no more liquidation. Anyways, that would be nice, right? That'll never happen, but it's a fool's dream. Okay. So the quick summary here is that Solana is bearish with Bitcoin. There's no other way around it. I wouldn't recommend taking a long at this point. We broke our local point of control at 137. I would recommend waiting for, once more, 130 to 135 is a better case scenario. See how the Fed meeting goes today and how Bitcoin's performing. Bitcoin starts to, push towards its upper range, then it may be advantageous to take a long here with Solana. The only thing going for Solana right now is this, slight ascending trend. If you kind of include some candle wicks there, letting us know we're still in decent shape here for this ascending trend, but it's choppy and it's not looking good. So there's that. And what do you do? How do you trade, folks? At least pop quiz, comment below. How do you trade if you know that there's too much conflicting information in both directions? You don't trade. That's the simple way to understand it. Sorry, I answered it before you probably could post it, but if you've been watching my channel, you'll know that the best trade is no trade in a lot of cases right now, and it's too junky right now to take a trade. Anyways, that's Solana in a nutshell. I hope I didn't offend you. Thanks again so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow, folks. Really appreciate you doing that. It's been very, very helpful to grow the channel. And yeah, if you want to join us over on CryptoCash.tech, we've got a summer sale. Sorry, I keep saying that. It's actually a winter sale, and that is available here 25 days of Christmas. There's 15 slots now left available. Okay, so take advantage of that if you want. Otherwise, hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Friendly reminder to our traders, we got a 15% trading discount using my link below to register for Bitunix. You'll also automatically be eligible for future trading competitions through this exchange. It's an excellent exchange. There's no KYC required. Be sure to use my link down below to register. All right, folks, let's take a quick look here at Ethereum next, kind of just quickly understand where we're at here. There's two possible scenarios here. I forgot to actually include this possible scenario where the price could just keep going straight up, because it does look like it's working itself into a bullish type of pennant pattern. It's absorbing all the market capitalization right now, and ETH is just ready to destroy a lot of shorts. So be very careful of shorting ETH. You're better off waiting for a long position. I would say 3,200 to 3,100 is that range, the desirable range for me. So if we do see that level today, it seems very practical to want to consider a long at that level, because this coin's been super strong for quite a few days now, and I've been kind of talking about that. There is a reason why we took a long position with Ethereum. It was just right for the plucking, right? Prime for the plucking, is that the right term? Anyways, it's definitely showing a lot of strength here. Now, what I want to get at here is just a simple fact that the previous high hasn't been retested as a new low. So it doesn't mean it always has to happen, but it usually does. So my speculation is that we might see, some weird manipulative move to the downside here today, just based on how dovish or hawkish, Jerome Powell could be, right? If that happens, we're going to probably see like a heart monitor. So if you've ever seen a heart monitor, it goes bleep 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 with every heartbeat. That's what's going to happen in the market today. Just a quick rinse of both directions. That's usually the case. So we see that quick rinse to the downside, so to speak. 3,200 seems practical because it's a previous high that should work as a new low. Anyways, those are just areas I like to kind of consider, and I've been looking for that area for a little while now. All that said, though, liquidation delta is at 12 billion to the upside. That's pretty significant. That's a lot higher than Bitcoin is, and it leads me to believe that this area of liquidation here at 3,400 to 3,450 is the next target. Okay, so we may not actually get that pullback to 3,200. It may be smart to consider a long in the relative near future. Now, I hate to take longs when prices are overextended like this, and I'm expecting Bitcoin to pull back. It's the only thing that's keeping me from taking another long here with Ethereum. But once more, it's just kind of a balancing act, right? Depending on your risk tolerance, how do you proceed? Well, the key takeaway here is that we are starting to test our 50-day SMA, and that's a big deal. We're also up over 50 in the RSI, have been for about 48 hours, and stochastic swinging up again. So while it feels pretty overextended, it's also pretty early and premature in this continuation, likely progression higher. So feeling like Ethereum is going to continue to progress upwards. It's got a pretty solid ascending trend. We compare it with Bitcoin, and it's pretty obvious that we're in good shape. There is still a little bit of fair value left on this lower time frame, so the hourly does tell us that we could see the price pull back down to maybe 32.50. If that were to happen, that would be a solid consideration. But if you look at the difference here, ETH has been ranging and absorbing all the market capitalization, while Bitcoin is just pulling back. Now, while you could argue that that's a flag pattern, which is fairly true, this is a better pattern, no matter how you look at it. So the concept here remains the same. ETH is strong. Those are my 2 cents. What are yours? Before we move on, make sure you check out Bitunix 2, folks. $50,000 deposit, not reward, rather, but a trading volume reward based on the community's collective prize pool. So we're almost already halfway to our first unlock of 5,000. Just keep doing what you're doing. Make sure you use my link to register, and if you haven't used my link in the past, you're already trading with them, send me over your user ID. I can get you transferred over. Anyways, that's all there for you if you want. CryptoCash.tech as well if you want trading access to my trading academy community and signals. There is about 15 slots left for this month of December for that 25 days of Christmas sale. People are swooping it up. Check it out if you want. Links down below. Have a good one.